Hello and welcome to the course on Basics of Marketing. Happy to have you enroll for the course today. First, we are going to see certain basic concepts in marketing. We'll start with the concept of what is marketing. Before I start, I would like to ask you a question. Well, let us start with what is marketing. Marketing is all about understanding your customers. Remember one thing, whenever we talk about marketing, it starts with the customer. Now, what do I need to know about my customers? First, I need to know who they are because it's only when I understand who they are, I will be able to understand what they want, and when I understand what they want, I will be able to give it to them. So I have to basically understand the profile of my customers, then find out what is it that the customers need, and then find out what is it that they will value. Once I'm done with this, I am set with my journey of marketing. You need to identify the needs and wants of your customers in order to know how you can fulfill those needs. If your business has to prosper, it can only happen when the needs of your customers are satisfied by the products and services that you offer to them. Marketing is the management process that is responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer requirements profitably. And that means I can make my profits only if I satisfy my customers. Let us look at a few definitions of marketing. And the first definition of marketing on this slide is by far my favorite definition of marketing. And it goes like this. Marketing is the process of planning and executing the conception, pricing, promotion, and distribution of ideas, goods, and services to create exchanges that satisfy individual and organizational objectives. Now, when we think about this definition, it seems to be very complex. Let us break it down into simple steps and understand it better. When I talk about marketing, I talk about a vast world where a lot of activities are performed. And in order to perform all those activities, what I require is perfect planning and absolutely perfect execution of that planning. And therefore, we say it is the process of planning as well as executing. What will I plan and execute? I will plan and execute the conception, the pricing, the promotion, and the distribution. We are talking about the 4 P's of marketing here. Conception, that is the idea of what I'm going to sell. At what price am I going to sell it? How am I going to tell people about it? And where am I going to sell it to them? All these things together make up the process of marketing. What all things can you sell? A majority of things that are marketed fall into three broad categories of ideas, goods, and services. And why does a business offer these to the consumers? So that consumers can satisfy their needs and the business can satisfy its business objectives of making profit. Let us look at another definition of marketing. The second definition of marketing speaks about the customer perspective of marketing. It says that marketing is about knowing who your customers are, understanding what they need, and trying to tell them how you or your product can fulfill those needs in a way that encourages them to buy from your business. And that means I'm going to focus on the customer, look at their needs, try to fulfill their needs with my products, and encourage them to buy from me. Let us look at a few more definitions of marketing to understand it a little better. One of the definitions of marketing says that marketing means satisfying needs and wants through an exchange process. That means in order to have a successful marketing, you need to have an exchange process of satisfying needs and wants. A social and managerial process by which individuals and groups obtain what they want and need through creating, offering, and exchanging products of value with others. This definition is given by Philip Kotler, who is known as the guru of marketing. Marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer requirements profitably, and this is given by the Chartered Institute of Marketing. We need to understand what is common in all these definitions is that marketing is the process where you need to identify customer requirements and then satisfy them in order to make your business profitable. Now that we've understood what is marketing, let us understand what can be marketed. Practically, everything can be marketed except for human feelings. However, most of the things that are marketed fall into one of the categories that have been listed here. Let me give you an example of each one of these categories for better understanding of how all these things are marketed. First, we take an example of marketing of goods. We can talk about heavy machinery being marketed, or we can talk about a packet of biscuit being marketed. And both of these are going to be examples of marketing of goods. Next, we take an example of marketing of services. Banking services, hair salons, hotel services, hospital services, all these are examples of services that are marketed. Next, we take an example of experiences being marketed. Experiences are when you have certain activities that is going to give you a certain kind of a feeling. Marketing experiences is very tough. However, there are a lot of companies which try to market experiences, and a few examples of marketing experiences are activities like bungee jumping, scuba diving, etc. Let us look at what is event marketing. The biggest example of event marketing in our country is the Indian Premier League. By far, the biggest marketing budget spent on any sports activity in our country is spent on the IPL. Persons marketing or people marketing as it is called. You can look at celebrities marketing themselves. Celebrities have their own PR teams and they market themselves. You can look at all the marketing campaigns that run around during elections where politicians market themselves as the best candidate to be elected. So these are a few examples of people being marketed. Next is places being marketed. An example of a place being marketed could be Gujarat tourism, where you've shown different places in Gujarat and told about how beautiful those places are and how much important it is going to be for you if you visit those places and what kind of experience you're going to have in those places. That is an example of place marketing. An example of organization information marketing is where organizations market themselves as a whole. For example, you can talk about HCL marketing itself as an organization. Apart from products and services, organizations also market and establish their brand at an organizational level. For example, you've also seen the Tata Group advertising itself as the Tata Group instead of advertising individual brands under it. Next is an example of idea marketing. Whether you talk about the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao or whether you talk about the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, all these are examples of idea marketing. It is marketing of an idea or a concept that a person wants to popularize among other people. In today's video, we learned about the concept and meaning of the term marketing, the definitions of marketing, and what can be marketed. I hope you all have understood the concepts clearly. If at all there are any doubts in your mind, please feel free to mail your queries at the email ID given below. Thank you. Hope to see you in the next session.